Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. We are up in Land's End, which is the peninsula in Cornwall. Literally we're about 6 miles from Land's End itself, which we might be going to later on, so look out for that. But right now we're in the middle of nowhere, walking up an ancient track looking for an old village. And I don't mean the traditional old Cornish village. I'm looking for one that's thousands of years old. So grab your coffee, guys, let's go on an adventure. Probably should have mentioned that we're actually very close to Land's End Airport as well, so there's a few helicopters buzzing around us, but we'll cope with them. Yeah, so this village, which I'm just arriving at now, I think is called Carn Euny or Carn Euny or Carn Euny or something like that. I don't know. Let me know down in the comments if you know this village, what's the correct pronunciation of it, because I couldn't find it. But yeah, it's an ancient village. So as we have a look around, I'll see if I can find a little more facts for you. In terms of how old it is and all those great things. But it was definitely an interesting trip coming down here. The lanes were particularly narrow, more narrow than usual, so it made it interesting, but it makes it an adventure as well. So there's a nice aerial photo there, what it looks like from above. As you can see, there's quite a few houses here, all within the enclosure. And the sign here tells us it was occupied in the Iron Age until late Roman times, and it's one of the best preserved ancient villages in the southwest of Britain. The foundations of the stone houses visible today date from around the 2nd to 4th centuries AD. The village was abandoned around that time that the Roman occupation of Britain came to an end. So it looks like we have a series of roundhouses, entrances, buildings, and these all look outer ones, and even though this may be an entrance into another roundhouse, actually, yeah, it could have joined together. Could have been an entrance here coming into it from the centre of the village, and it could also be a helicopter buzzing right over our head right now. Yeah, so it looks like we could be looking at various entrances into various roundhouses, and they look separate when you come in, because I always think of a roundhouse being just one big empty room, but this looks like it's got walls coming along on the interior, so this could have been a segregated area, maybe for animals, maybe for sleeping and cooking, maybe even for a toilet there, that little cubby hole, who knows. Living area. They certainly were known to live all in one place. As I say, this looks like it either could be a separate building from the other side, or it's all part of this building and maybe they extended it, who knows. Always find this kind of stuff interesting to look at. If you're a fan of Time Team like me, yeah, you'll know what I'm getting at. So roughly about 2,000 years ago, I guess, people were living here in these houses. It looks very organised, but I guess this might not be an enclosure, this might be outside many smaller enclosures. Oh, looks like we have a little tunnel over there. We'll have to definitely go and explore that. Stay tuned. So there you go, there's an artist's impression of what it may have looked like based upon the foundations they found. So directly in front of us we see the courtyard entrance going in, and actually, as I suspect, it's a courtyard, but it's made up of houses around the courtyard, and that's the little tunnel over there, so I think we'll go in there and have a look down it. But yeah, it looks like buildings surrounding a courtyard effectively. So these type of courtyard houses are unique to the far west of Cornwall, and definitely different to what I see when I think of roundhouses. So these are more oval in plan, and they've got thick stone built walls surrounding a central courtyard with small round and long rooms built on the outer wall. The walls of different houses were also interlocking, providing security and shelter to inhabit. So yeah, as I thought further on down, and they were drained by a stone-lined gullies and may have been used to provide shelter for sheep and cows and outdoor activities such as grinding grain, weaving and cooking. So let's go and have a look, shall we? Into the courtyard we go, through what would have been house here up on the left hand side, going over the top, and again there would have been one here on the right hand side, and it looks like we've got something going underground there, which we'll have a look at in a second. And then yeah, this would have been a courtyard round here, you can see that, followed by all the various covered houses that would have been around here, and over here we've got one of the gullies, so that's really cool to see. So again, this comes out the other side, and that would have been to drain away any mess or anything from the house, animals and that kind of thing. Let's go and see down this gully now, shall we? See where this goes. Some definitely well-worn steps into it. Two rooms, in fact. Okay, so that's going round to another entrance, so we'll have a look at that in a second. Let's come back into this one first. It's a bit low, I'm having to crouch down. But wow, look at that. Gives you an idea of what it would have been like. Obviously they wouldn't have had the metal grids over the roof of it. They would have had straw roofs. Looks like they've got a fireplace over here. I'm just going to step over without getting in the water. So you get a fireplace a half over that side, and then stone brick, and then where all this wooden roof and that is, they would have had a straw roof on it. So it really gives you an indication of how it would have been in one of these smaller buildings. Really thick walls. Right, go and see where this tunnel goes. I guess this is how they interlink and interlock between the various bits of the site as well. Very low, but it could have been the ground was a lot lower back then as well. So again, we've come out the other side. There's another enclosure up here, looking into a house here. So it probably was a security way of getting around the various places. Let's go and have a look. There's a sign up here as well. So now we're kind of on top. I wonder if we can find where that the roof was to that house. There we go. There we go. And we're on the roof of where we were looking down a minute ago, or looking up. So that was House H. So yeah, quite intricate interlocking in terms of courtyard house 1, house 2, house 3, and then various houses. This is where we came into the site. So that was that first one we came into. Yeah, really intricate. You've got to kind of know your way into the village once you're in there. So evidently, the passage, that underground passage we went to, called a Fogou, is quite a rare structure indeed. It's a Cornish word for cave, and yeah, it's quite unusual to have in a village. So I guess, given that where we are in terms of a site and location, it probably is quite a you know, area that the weather will attack from all angles. Tell you what, there's some big stones here as well. These things wouldn't have been easy to move around, put into place, making big defensive walls. So this gives an idea of the first type of houses that would have been here, and the more traditional roundhouse from the Stone Age that I would have associated. So they obviously evolved from that method into maybe using technology that the Romans brought in, that Roman British period. So just around the corner is this, which looks like it could have been a well. There's a huge boulder rock above it though. Looks like it hasn't moved in a few thousand years. Right, so we found that well there, which I heard there's a well nearby, but I've also heard there is a chapel nearby as well. So it'll be nice if we can find that. We're kind of doing a little round route on the way back to the car. So we'll see if we can find that on the way back. Now, I noticed in the gardens we went to the last videos, there was bluebells. But here, it looks like we've got the natural white bells. Spring is truly in the air. So it looks like we found the well that I've seen on a map. Looks like you can step down into this one, but there's also a lot of water coming out. And I don't know if this is coming out another well over here or whether it's just a stream from earlier on, which is possible, and it's passing through it. Yeah, it looks like that goes further on up. But again, the water's held in there, so there could well be water coming across the ground here. Now, I think this bit up here is the old chapel. And again, there's lots of water. There's some stonework over in that direction, which looks like they're channeling the water down here. It's man-made rather than just natural, but that could just be keeping water away from that source of the well. This is really cool. I'm not going to look to my left. There's some steps going up into an old property there. Could be there. Yeah, definitely a site of pilgrimage. Looks like a wishing tree. I think that's what they call these things, where they make their little wishes and tie the thing. Which I'm not sure if that's a Cornish tradition or not. So let me know in the comments, is a wishing tree a Cornish thing? Or do you have it wherever you're from as well? Such a beautiful location here though. You can see why they had the village nearby. They have this natural water source. They have a chapel here. It would be interesting to know when the chapel dates from as well. Well, welcome to Land's End, guys. We've finally made it to the most westerly point in the United Kingdom.
I think that's somewhere in Ireland.
Okay, so we're the most westerly point in Great Britain. What?
That's Scotland.
Fine, we're the most westerly point in England. Okay, so you get the point. It didn't take into account Great Britain and United Kingdom when they come up with this title, but just down there is the first and last house. Behind us, which you can't see at the moment, is the first and last bar. So we just had a coffee in there. So I think officially we've got to go down there to be at the most westerly point of England. So let's head down there. So you can see the famous signpost behind me. You can pay to have your picture taken there and have your own bits and pieces put on if you want to. It's probably about £12–13 these days, so yeah. See, I told you it's England, not Great Britain or United Kingdom. So yeah, this is the first and last house here at Land's End, literally meters away from the cliff edge. But it's closed. So yeah, I think in the summer you come here, you'll be able to get refreshments, postcards, all that good stuff. For now, we do it back at the top. Right, let's get to Land's End, or as close as we can to it. Technically it's over there, can't quite reach it. I'll tell you what, that does look like a treacherous coast. And one thing's for sure, there is a lot of shipwrecks around this part of Cornwall. So all the way around the coastline you'll see shipwrecks all over the place. And there's just 20 years ago, just over 20 years ago, there was the boat that crashed just off the rocks here with 6 souls on board, all rescued. But yeah, you can actually still see it today as you walk along the cliffs. Well, that is it for Land's End. Is that it for the end of Cornwall? Well, maybe subscribe and find out in our next video if it's going to be here in Cornwall, because we've got a day left, or maybe it's somewhere else. If you enjoyed this kind of video, then please do give it a good old thumbs up, leave a comment down below, and we'll see you in the next video. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. See you soon. Take care. Bye bye.